I was recently at the British Motor Show when I came across this all-new electric city car called the Linktour Alumi. Although it didn't look too exciting at first, looking at the spec sheet and sitting in the interior completely changed my perception, and in this video I'm going to explain why this might be the new best city car you can buy in the UK for 2026. As well as that, I'll have a brief look at why the city car class as a whole has experienced a huge resurgence in recent years. A few years ago, many automakers and car magazines were signalling the end of the city car. This article from The Car Expert sums up nicely how pessimistic the outlook was back in 2022. The article states that small cars are difficult to electrify and the future is bleak for the city car. Furthermore, the article states that in 2019, Peugeot boss Carlos Tavares quoted saying that all A-segment cars would disappear because there's no profit in them. In 2021, the Peugeot 108 and the Seat Mii both ended production. In 2022, we saw the end of the Citroen C1, and in 2023, we saw the VW end production as well. In the last couple of years, however, we've seen the unveiling of the Hyundai Insta, the Citroen Ami, the Fiat Topolino, the Linkmotor T03, the Dacia Spring, the Silent S04, the Mobilised Duo, and the new Renault Twingo. If you ask me, I'd say the class is experiencing a resurgence. The reduction in battery costs, driven by LFP battery chemistries which don't use expensive cobalt or nickel, is probably the main driver, but Chinese automaker pressure, stricter EU and UK emissions mandates, and urban penalties for large vehicles have all contributed towards more city cars coming into the market. The Linktour Alumi is one of the latest cars to enter the European and UK markets, and it can be bought with two different battery size options. One with a 7.2 kWh battery, which is good for a range of 120 kilometers, and one called the Elite with a 12.96 kWh battery, which is good for a range of 180 kilometers. It's worth noting that much like other micro city cars, these are WMTC range figures, which use a different testing procedure to cars with a WLTP range figure. At 180 kilometers, the range is longer than a Citroen Ami, a Silence S04, and Mobilised Duo, which have 75 km, 149 km, and 161 km ranges respectively. The range is shorter than some larger city cars which use WLTP range figures though, like the Dacia Spring, the Renault Twingo, and the Linkmotor T03, which have 225, 263, and 265 km ranges respectively. It's worth noting that if you do want to drive at age 16, you'll need the smaller battery version though. In terms of top speed, the smaller battery version does 45 km an hour or 28 miles an hour, so not very high at all. But the bigger battery version does do 90 km an hour or 56 miles an hour. 90 km an hour is faster than other quadricycle cars, but less than the likes of the Dacia Spring, the Renault Twingo, and Linkmotor T03, which can do between 125 and 130 km an hour. The Alumi Elite, which is the larger battery version, delivers the power needed to get to 90 km an hour from a 23 kW or 31 horsepower electric motor. It also produces 95 Nm of torque. This model has a charging speed of 3.3 kW AC, which means a 0 to 100% charge takes 4.5 hours. That's a faster charging speed than the Silence S04 and Fiat Topolino, which are both 2 kW and 2.3 kW respectively, but less than the Citroen Ami and Mobilised Duo, which are 3.6 and 3.7 kW respectively. The larger city cars can also accept DC charging optionally, with the Dacia Spring accepting 30 kW DC, the Renault Twingo and Linkmotor T03 around 50 kW, and the Hyundai Insta an impressive 120 kW. That means a 10 to 80% charge in the Hyundai Insta only takes 29 minutes. When it comes to interior creature comforts, the Linktour has you covered. It features dual driving mode, a 10.25-inch central display with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a 5-inch driver display, air conditioning, a multifunction steering wheel, and a smartphone app which allows you to remote lock, track, preset air conditioning, and also view the battery percentage. When I sat in the car, there was also a nice feeling of quality within the cabin. The car features a real leather steering wheel, faux leather seats and padded armrests, as well as a tactile bank of physical controls. As far as city cars go, you can't get much better equipped than this. On the exterior, it might not look as iconic and recognisable as the Citroen Ami or indeed the larger Renault Twingo, but there are still quite a few cool features. The main notable feature is the so-called personal gallery studio on wheels, which allows you to display whatever photo or art piece you want on the side of the car. If you want, you can even put a picture of yourself on the side of the car. The technology also allows you to swap the designs on the side of the car whenever you like. As well as that, the Linktour Alumi has frameless doors, a glass canopy roof, and LED daytime running lights. Paint colours are either white, green, black or grey. The Linktour Alumi measures 2,685mm in length, making it longer than a Citroen Ami at 2,410mm and a Fiat Topolino at 2,535mm, but shorter than a Hyundai Insta or Renault Twingo, which sit at around 3,800mm. A benefit to being longer than the Ami is that it does actually have a rear boot, and a generous one at that. At 320 litres, it is larger than the Dacia Spring, the Linkmotor T03 and the estimated boot size of the Renault Twingo. Very impressive then, because these are much larger cars. The all-aluminium frame of the Linktour only weighs between 95 and 100 kilograms as well. Altogether, the car tips the scales at just 820 kilograms. A Citroen Ami is lighter though, at only 460 kilograms, while the Hyundai Insta is 1,305 kilograms. The turning circle of the car sits between the Ami and also the larger city cars like the Twingo and the Insta. Deliveries of the car will start in late 2026 for the UK. And after speaking with someone at Linktour at their stand at the British Motor Show, they said that prices will range from £10,000 for the basic car with the smaller battery to £14,000 for the one with the bigger battery and all the kit. So where does that all leave us? Well, I think the bigger battery Alumi Elite is the best specification to go for. It offers a longer range, better performance and much more practicality than all the other quadricycle rivals. What's more, the interior is better quality and better equipped than many of its larger city car rivals. If your journeys do consist of solely city commutes, I think the new Linkmotor Alumi Elite is the best new city car on sale right now. However, for more out-of-town commutes, you're probably better off waiting for the Renault Twingo's arrival in 2027.